Hello again.
Oh, oh, go for it. Sorry.
No, all good. As I was just unmuting myself. Yeah, very. Thank you very much to our analyst desk. Absolutely fabulous analyst that we have here. As we will be looking into further as to what they said, of course, during this bot lane. The two kills that Thresh did take could have had an impact, more of an impact on the Jinx. But
Mm,
sometimes it's understandable, right? You wanna secure those kills even as the support. Having someone run out with 1 HP is a really bad feeling. What are we expecting to see in this second draft here? What do you think?
Uh, what I'm really hoping for on both these teams, especially CR, is to not reveal their win conditions too early. I think that was a huge problem when they first picked Jinx. I think Jinx. I agree with you. I think Jinx is one of the best AD carries in the meta. But we saw what happened last game was that she just got outranged. She struggles like that with Aphelios, where if you get outranged, you have no way to give damage, and you really don't want to be running into Ojin as Jinx. So I'm really hoping that we can get a little bit more of an ambiguous draft from GFG and from CR as they're getting into draft right away. Again, first ban from CR is Senna GP and Kiana from George Foreman Grill.
Yeah, as well as the Varus, they're coming down. Very fast bans here coming. Casually reformed ban out the Yone. That is, of course, a target ban. We did talk about that last draft, as well as the Yorick, who is also most definitely a target ban.
Mm.
Uh, Yeah, it's you were talking about the win conditions in draft. It looks like with the Senna ban, maybe they are more confident to run it back. Maybe taking away the Senna from George Foreman Grill might kind of make them more confident that Jinx can actually work out. One thing that I will mention though is that Jinx also works very well not only with Thresh but also with Enchanter supports. I'm not too sure if Casual's Reformed supports does fancy playing any of those enchanters, but enchanters are very strong with Jinx, so maybe we could see that as we do see Hecarim. This is going to be the B1 for Casualty.
I like the Hecarim first pick. I think it was fine last game in terms of a pick. I do think Sean misplayed several times, but picking Hecarim first allows him to be flexed into a lot of different kinds of team comps. He's a very versatile champion. He can be going all in or peeling back in any time. So I like the first pick. Samira is going to be picked in response. So that's a little bit spicy by Murphy in the bottom lane. I guess looking for some early game aggression as opposed to the laid back style of last game.
Wow, and it is going to be the Samira Maokai that are going to be locked in for George Foreman Grill. Samira, of course, benefiting quite a bit from those knockups from the Maokai. You might be seeing Maokai in the support role, as the Jinx is going to be hovered for Casually Reformed. Um, Samira not in the best spot right now. I do believe she did benefit from the changes to the shield bow, as it gives her like AD instead of healing. It's kind of weird, but I think it works out just fine. But Jinx Lulu, hey, looks like I was talking about
Yeah.
the right thing. The banter is coming out. Jinx Lulu, super super strong, especially in the late game. Really good peel. Insane damage. I mean, I absolutely love this lane. I think as an AD myself that loves to play picks like Ashe and Kog'Maw, playing with Lulu is just great. It's it's what you look forward to seeing your support pick. As we do see the Fiddlesticks is going to be the pick for George Foreman Grill.
I really like the Jinx Lulu bottom lane, especially into a Samira. Jinx obviously outranges Samira. Lulu as well. It's going to make it very hard for Samira to lane, and they also scale incredibly well. It's going to really depend on whether or not Jinx is going to be the only winning condition and how well they can protect her. Right now, there's Samira Fiddlesticks as the possible threats for George Foreman, but it's very likely that'll change in the upcoming picks as George Foreman's expected to get something that can deal with his chance.
Yeah, absolutely. As we do see the last round of bans coming down here, as honestly a lot of respect from both teams. That is something that I do want to know. Even in the first game, we saw a lot of respect bans, and then the game was played pretty respectfully from both sides, which I really, really appreciate. I love to see that. As now that the bans are over, it is going to be the Corki and the Gnar banned from Casually Reformed, and LeBlanc and Rise going to be banned there. Um, what can we expect here from Casually Reformed? Prefer more AP damage, as we see the Ornn is coming out for George Foreman Grill. Not something that we have seen a lot of, but I actually really like it. Ornn makes setup really makes for some really good setup for the Samira as well as the Fiddlesticks. He has some really good late game scaling. It's a decent blind pick. There are some matchups that Ornn can struggle with, notably the GP, but he is banned out by Casually Reformed.
That was a good draft selection so far by CR, and I like the set pick to counter the Ornn. That means they're going to have a very strong top side with Set Hecarim versus Fiddlesticks Ornn. Not a bad pick at all. The last one they're going is the mid lane. I'm expecting something in the control sense, maybe an Orianna or an Azir. Something like that would be really good to round out the comp. And they're going the opposite direction. They're going all in with the Silas.
Okay, I mean, the Silas blind pick, not my favorite. As you do not know who George Foreman Gorilla is picking, they could be picking something that doesn't give Silas a very good ultimate to steal from. But do note that Silas already has a few good ultimates to steal from. Notably, the Fiddle, the Maokai, and the Ornn ultimates are all pretty decent. But the Fiddle ultimate, of course, being the best one out of the three, I would argue. As Tristana is going to be the last pick for George Foreman Grill. And I believe that is going to be a Tristana down the mid lane, which notably Silas can struggle a bit into. But, you know, honestly, Tristana's ultimate is pretty good to steal from too. It does have a very good AP ratio. So there's that. But as this draft has been all done and dusted, we will be going into a bit of a break as we will be waiting for the competitive delay. So we will see you all in 3 minutes for game 2. All right, and we are back to the second game of Casuals Reformed versus Greg's. Nope, that's wrong. GFG. What is their?
George Foreman Grill.
Thank you. My memory is absolutely terrible, but it's okay as we're. It looks like we won't be having any level 1 shenanigans quite yet. Now tell me, what do we think about these two compositions as we're getting into this game?
Well, I gotta say, I'm really excited for Ornn to buy his first item because right now he's missing them. And Ornn famously has a lot of items, so he should probably go back before that. But in the general sense of the game, I'm expecting bot lane to be hyper aggressive from Bog and Zizzers. Harley and Murphy are going to have their work cut out. They did take the exhaust. It should make it a little bit safer. Mid lane as well should be hyper volatile. With Sierras should have a really easy time dealing with, or a relatively easy time dealing with Royal. But if Royal is able to get ahead, then Royal might be able to run away from this game. And in the top lane, Set is going to bully Ornn because Set bullies everyone.
That is what he does. He is a literal bully. As we do see Dirty Phil here walking up. Will Daniel notice that Dirty Phil does not have an item? Doesn't look like it, as he's not going to force the issue here. As we do see a bit of leash here going down for Casually Reformed, as well as for GFG. So both bot laners are going to leash their junglers. How nice of them. As we are going to be walking down to the bot lane. We do have a bit of mouse action. I'm sure that'll be resolved soon. Not too sure what that no items start was from the Ornn. I assume it's something. It's the strat that I've seen quite a few times now
He
from
can build
Ornns.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. You can build it in lane, and I've also seen like cloth armor starts because you want to get the to the what's the name of that item that goes into the thorn mail, the warden's mail.
Bramble Vest.
Bramble Vest, thank you. Caster, by the way.
Professional captain. Level
Yeah,
2.
Level 2 here being picked up by Murphy and Harley. Going to be trading very heavily with Bog. You got to be careful for that level 2. That experience difference is going to be very delicate to maneuver. As of course, you know, Harley and Murphy do have the range advantages. Oh, but Bog is actually going to the flash W.
Oh, the double
Zizzers
flash.
is going to follow up with a flash of his own, but the polymorph is going to extend Murphy's life, and the shield is going through. Will they actually manage to finish Murphy? Yes, they will, and now both AD left alive. But who is going to win this 1v1? I think I have to flash out. But at the end of the day, that is pretty much an even exchange in gold, as we see the replay.
Oh, I said aggressive, but I didn't think it would be that aggressive. Flash twisted advance from Bog and a flash Inferno Rush from Zizzers. They do have to pop the heal. They get the kill. They trade 1-for-1, but that's definitely worth for the Samira. She got first blood, and she has a good chance of being able to snowball with it. On top of her having priority of the wave afterward, and she's actually crashing it. She's gonna get about 10 minions up on Jinx just from the wave placement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was saying on the equivalent exchange of gold, but after that, it's definitely not going to be the case. And after this, it's definitely not going to be the case, as Daniel is caught out in between a mountain man and a scarecrow, and he is going to have to flash out and retreat to his tower. He does have the teleport, so he'll be coming back to lane with that, I assume, as Royal is going to find the chains, but they're not going to be looking any further, as they do not have the lethal damage to finish this out. As Swark is looking here the mid lane, but he does not have his level 6 quite yet. So that's going to be that for now.
Sean took the time to do the scuttle crab, which made it so that Swark was able to get to lane beforehand. Swark, unfortunately, not being able to get anything off these kills is going to put Sean in a pretty good place. He was able to get, or no, Sean gave up the second scuttle, which didn't seem like it was necessary. So that is going to put Swark in a pretty good position. Forced out the flash, and he was able to get an even trade in jungle creeps, and he is now ahead. Well, good play and good pathing by Swark.
Yeah, absolutely. We did see that this same jungle matchup last game, as we do see Bog going in for another advance and dead here. Yeah, he's just going to die there towards Bog. That positioning is going to be very delicate to play for Murphy. This matchup is a bit of a special one. It's Samira and Maokai have a very strong all-in, and the way Harley and Murphy want to play this matchup is they have to kind of receive the all-in and manage to tank it through the shields and the polymorphs of Lulu, and then they fight back when the cooldowns of Maokai are on cooldown. But if you die to the Maokai all-in, then it's definitely very difficult. As Sirius here is going for a very heavy trade. Oh, but the devastating actually pushes him into range to kill Royal. That's unfortunate. That is not pretty much literally killing you. But that is going to be a 1-on-1 exchange in the end.
MVP Sean for the side. Oh, I can't get into that though, as Bog's making a case for himself.
Never mind. There's another all in here down in the dead as the last Q hits, but doesn't finish. But Harley is going to be forced to recall once again.
Nice play by Bog. Unfortunately, doesn't result in a kill, but even still, Zizzers is going to be huge on the Samir. He's able to build up a strong CS lead now. He's going to get this plate. I don't think he's going to be able to get solo, but even still, it's going to be a huge chunk of change for the Samira.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at this point, the Samira is so far ahead of the Jinx. It's not by any means an unwinnable lead or anything like that, but it is a consistent and important lead that we will have to check in on as the game progresses. But man, that was pretty action-packed early game for now, as we do see the first Drake is up, and it looks like both junglers are hovering somewhere in the bot side, but it doesn't look like either junglers want to contest quite yet. The scuttle is going to be pinged by both teams, so let's see if they manage to do anything about that. It looks like a ward will just be placed in the river, and that's about it for now.
It's such a stark contrast to the last game. It was 2-3 at like 17 minutes last game, and it's 2-3 at like 7 minutes this game. In huge part due to Zizzer's Bog, but also Sean and Swark have been noticeably more proactive in this game than they were in the last game. The last game, both of them just spent their time farming for the most part and didn't have too much of an impact early game, but both of them are looking to play rather aggro here as we see Schwark going to the bottom lane, looking for it again, but Bog's got to clear that vision.
It does look like it, as but that's another flash twisted advance here. Harley taken down low, but there is not enough damage to take him down quite yet. And yeah, okay, so that is going to be the flash off of Bog. And this is how you win the matchup. You essentially don't die. So they managed to do that quite effectively. They won't be actually getting anything off of that failed engage. But they do manage, to buy a bit of time. And since the Lulu Jinx scales so well, buying time is really all.
Even still, oh,
Looks
Sierra's
like Sirius
going
is going to
in.
find Sean. Oh, and he actually gets taken down by the max charge bomb as well as the ultimate. And the last tick of that ignite is going to take him down comfortably. And Sirius is now sitting on 2 kills. But Royal is actually roaming down to the bot lane here. These two guys fighting it out. The Ornhorn will come through. It will hit. He managed to flash forward, but the Q won't hit for the slow. Daniel is just going to flash out of that one. That is just going to be an even exchange up there, as Royal is walking his way to the mid lane, but Royal is extremely far behind at this point. Sirius is not only 20 CS ahead of him, but also is going to be soon a plate ahead and has 2 kills as well. So Sirius is definitely going to be a very big problem in this game.
Yeah, GFG has been so on top of it, and I can't help but feel like it's just a scale difference in the laning matchups. This game, especially in jungle, mid, and bot lane, you can see that all three up are in CS by themselves. The only difference is in the top lane, but that is Horn versus Set, and he's having more trouble now.
Yep. It does not have the flash, so Dirty Phil is probably just going to go down there. Managed to buy himself a bit of time, but that's all he can really do before he inevitably dies. A bit of vision here going to be cleared on the top side. And that's a kill going over to Daniel. And that is not what you would like to see. Because this set definitely can have quite a bit of an impact. Though Ornn, even if he falls behind, he will still definitely have an impact, which I guess is good. Um, yeah.
Set getting the kill might actually be really good for CR. Currently, he's the only member of CR doing well. They do have a much better scaling comp,
Oh,
but
but
even
the
now,
Hex Flash is going through. The Polymorph will delay Bug a bit, but Schwark is coming in, and there is only one Polymorph, and you can't Polymorph this Fiddlesticks. But I guess Murphy will have enough of an HP bar using the Wild Growth on himself to survive that.
it's really, really good to survive that from the side of CR. It does cost both of Murphy sums, but it costs Ash and his ult as well. Giving up kills like that and snowballing his lead further is exactly what GFG needs to be doing. So it's good on them for going that play, but even better on CR for not.
Yeah, absolutely. GFG doing pretty well, honestly. The gold lead now extended to about 1K at 11 minutes, which is nothing too significant. But looking at these two teams' compositions, there is decent scaling from both teams, but this time the scaling comes from different parts of the map, as my stream is frozen.
Uh,
Uh,
Currently, mine is too, and it appears the stream is frozen as well. So, so I guess there is nothing to do. Oh,
okay, we're back.
like, I commentators cursed this freeze. That was brilliant.
Commentator's
Um,
blessing.
yeah, commentators' blessings exactly. No,
Well, looks like we're back into the game, I guess.
all right. Uh, as we get back into it, it is still GFG with the about 1,000 gold lead. They're not putting pressure on the dragon right now, though I expect them to do so soon. They do have TP up in the top lane. They're head across the map, but Sean's going top now, so this should
Oh.
be a. But Schwark is right there for a counter gank.
Yeah, that Ghost and Ultimate going to be expanded there for pretty much nothing. So, not the gank that you want to see. As Dirty Phil is going in, but he doesn't know that Scarecrow is here as well. There's going to be one Fear coming down. The Ornhorn is... But Set is going to dunk the Fiddlesticks and going to use it to reposition himself, but
Oh,
he's repositioning
Sierras.
himself... he's repositioning himself near Cirrus. That is not where you want to be. He's going to try to take one, not having the damage to do so. And that is another kill going over to Cirrus. And man, this Tristana is fed.
Oh, this is gonna be a problem. It's already gonna be so hard to keep track of one gunslinging AD carry jumping into your team. You don't need a second fed one in the Tristana coming as well. CR is gonna have their work cut out for them trying to deal with a super fed Tristana now. He's 3-1 up, 25 farm. When she goes back, she's gonna have her Gale Force or Kraken Slayer, whichever one she chooses to go for, and that's when the point where GFG is probably gonna pull the trigger and force fight everything.
Yeah, absolutely. As Zap is going to find Zimmers, but nothing else going to be found there. Though we do see a bit of a roam here coming down from Sirius as well as Bog. They are only going to find a control ward as they walk here to take control of the Dragon Pit. Excuse me. As GFG might be looking for the first dragon, and it doesn't
Yeah.
look like Casually Reformed are going to contest it. Looks like the Herald will just be dropped as Harley puts down a few more rockets. And that is going to be the Mountain Drake going down for GFG.
A good choice just to not fight it by CR. It is a rather late dragon. That means that the earliest that Dragon Soul can be comes at a little bit over 30 minutes for the side of GFG, which obviously isn't ideal if you're looking to end the game as quickly as possible. So they're going to have to find other ways to get gold advantages and to continue to snowball, and Shork's looking to do just that right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He is on the hunt as both junglers are now hovering around this bot side. Zizzers is oh, but the flash, the flash
That's
WQ from the Maokai is going to take a lot of time, and that is going to be Swark managing to find a pretty good ultimate, but the counter ultimate from the Hecarim is going to find 3 fears, but the damage just isn't there. And that is going to be the cleanup for GFG. Sirius is probably going to jump on the other side of these Krugs, but there is not enough damage just going to take down these Krugs instead of Royal. And man, what a fight.
a good exhaust by Zizzard to make sure that Shork doesn't just sweep the fight, but Dirty Phil had the TP available when Daniel didn't, and that proved to be the crucial game changer. Daniel is going to be getting the top lane tower from this. He's not getting all the plates, but yeah, as we can see here, Bog goes in, gets the Maokai ultimate out, then the Fiddlestick comes in, gets quickly exhausted, isn't able to burst the Jinx as soon as possible, forces Zizzers to come in, who then shortly dies. But now Orin's here. At this point, the Hecarim has to be running away. A Royal can't contribute, and Sierras is falling quickly behind.
Yeah, absolutely. As we do see Royal here finding Shork, he's not going to find the E, as Swark is going to just flash away from that one. So good on Royal forcing out that flash. Um, Man, that fight was hectic. There was a
Yeah.
lot of big AOE damage. Interesting fight to watch. As we do see now, the game is pretty much stabilized in gold. Um, a lot of that gold differential is being put into Cirrus, who has most likely the biggest gold difference in between two players that we have this game. Yeah, it looks like it's oh my lord,
Bruno
that
is
is
sick top lane.
yeah, that is a lot of gold on the head of Cirrus.
He's got 2K in
Royal
his pocket.
Royal is going to use the ultimate to disengage, but the devastating charge will manage to catch Cirrus. He will have to flash away from that one, as he is just going to peacefully farm, most likely going to push this wave and look for a reset.
Yeah. Sierras being a little bit ambitious. He's just barely ahead on gold, or he's just barely by a few hundred gold ahead of what's in his inventory right now. Still fancying the 1v1. Very confident out of Sears, but unfortunately he doesn't have enough damage with it. And Sean is going to come punish him, burn the flash. There's no flash on any of the players of GFG for a few minutes now. CR can definitely look for a play during this time when the flash is down.
Yeah, absolutely. As it looks like Cirrus did recall, and he was considering whether he was taking Gale Force or Kraken Slayer, as he will be looking for the Gale Force, as well as a BF sword on top.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, he is really really strong at this point. He waited in the base a little bit for that BF sword. Um, so
Oh, got
maybe
the dash.
yeah, it looks like Daniel is looking for a bit of a fight here. Well, this is one very tanky, and this is just a wet noodle fight. Not much gonna come out of it quite yet. As yeah, this Tristana is very very scary, and Shork is doing great as well. He's out farming this Hecarim again, which is pretty surprising. You know, our analyst did talk about like how Sean has some like interesting jungle pathing. Maybe that's one of the reasons why he's falling back to CS.
Yeah, It also just looking around, it seems like Schwartz is also just doing an exceptional job of pulling camps and doing 2 or 3 of them at a time when he can. With that fiddlesticks, it's so easy for him. As Sean Galeforce is out
Absolutely.
of Hecker Malt.
Yep, good Gale Force there. Going to manage to get out of Sean's range. But Schwark, here he comes. We're talking about the devil, or must I say the scarecrow, as he takes down the horse. And that is going to be another kill going for GFG. And if there's one person you don't want the kills on, I mean, honestly, you don't want to give kills to any of these guys, but Fiddlesticks is definitely one of the worst options, as he might be finding himself another kill here. Yep, he finds himself another kill. And that is a disaster for Casually Reformed, to put it dramatically, I guess.
Yeah, that was their only member ahead. Just a very bad mistake by Daniel. He knew that Schwartz was potentially topside, or he was topside rather, as he just killed the Heckram, but he still decides to stay and he overextends. He gives up a lot of the gold and a lot of the pressure that he accumulated. He still will be ahead in the 1v1, but that's really not something you can afford to be giving away when you're the only one succeeding on your team. And I do have to talk about Sean for a minute here. He's putting so much effort into mid lane, but Sierras has been consistently doing so good at avoiding these ganks, and Sean hasn't got a lot done. He's down by 30 CS now. He has 3 kill participation, which isn't bad, but he's failed so many ganks mid. His time isn't being used efficiently just because Sierras is doing so well at playing away from these ganks.
Yeah, this is when in solo queue you type jungle, right?
Yeah, jungle diff. Everything's
As
always
you're
jungle diff.
everything is always jungle diff, let's be honest. But no, just jokes. But yeah, as you were mentioning, yeah, Schwark here and the Grump at the same time. Maybe is one of the reasons why he's farming so well here. As the second Drake will go uncontested again to GFG. Uncontested, I say. They
GTN.
are trying to contest it, but they are late. And this is but that is one
Oh,
beautiful Hecarim multi. Somehow Sirius doesn't get hit by the fear, and that is going to be one even more massive Fiddle ultimate, and the AoE damage so much from GFG. Samira getting the reset, not quite. Sirius is trying to find another reset, but man, he doesn't manage to find the will finally come down and kill off Harley, and Murphy will also go down as the ace goes over to GFG.
a huge flank by the Hecarim, but it's not enough. GFG is too far ahead, are able to tank them, then stat check them. A huge ult by Schwartz, as well as outfed Scissors and how much damage he was able to output. And then Sierras, even though he did get caught later in the fight, was so huge. That's the best fight you could ask for CR, and it still didn't go their way. They're going to have to try something dramatic if they want to turn this one around.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a rough fight for sure. As Shork is just taking more cabs. This poor
He
Akron
doesn't
is not
stop.
having a very good time. But yeah. One of I was listening into this desk on I believe it was LCK, and they were talking about how Hecarim works, and one of the greatest weaknesses of Hecarim is just getting his camps removed from him, as he is still pretty weak when he is far behind. And Shork is doing a very good job of that. He is putting him extremely far behind. As at this point in the game, I am really looking forward to Harley and Murray maybe trying to do something, because the rest of Casually Reformed team is probably not going to have that much of an impact from this point now.
Yeah, it's really on Harley, but again, it looks like he's building a Zeal item second. And is if he goes to the Zeal item and he goes for the IE, it's gonna be the same problem as last game, where the tank is just gonna zone him completely, and the tank is doing a good job of zoning Murphy from being alive right now.
Yeah, not too much to say about that one, as Dirty Phil is going to call the Orn Horn, and just going to be one very dead Lulu, which is a bit of unfortunate, out of position. One of the things about the Lulu that as an enchanter, you can't really boarding by yourself like that. Um, as a Bog here, trying to take control of some of the.
Oh.
But you have to be careful, Bog. You're in a 1v3. I know that you're playing Damage Maokai, and it's really fun, and full support. So can't 1v3 quite yet, as Daniel is actually
Oh.
get himself out of that tough spot as he ults Zitters back out of the lane and kind of flashes away. Pretty fancy footwork there, appropriate from our set.
Hmm.
Oh man, quite a bit of action here.
Yeah, it's well played by Daniel to get a mistake. A minor misplay by GFG. The coordination wasn't quite on point to get that, but I don't. I don't entirely know what Bog was doing. I guess he was thinking, maybe Saris is coming up from the mid lane and we can 2v3 this, but a little bit over aggressive. In the grand scheme of things, it shouldn't cost them too much. It's one support death. Um, Even still, they do need to be putting their foot on the gas a little bit. They haven't really gotten any advantages in the past 2 to 3 minutes. Whether that's putting Dirty Plate, who has teleport, in the bottom lane, and Daniel doesn't, and going for Baron or finding something else. They need to be finding a way to push their advantage and make sure that this Jinx does not time to scale.
Oh, but these advantages are here as Sork is just going to absolutely demolish Harley. I don't think there's anything about this. The Lulu ult is a bit too late, and yeah, Harley is just dead. So here are the advantages that you were talking about.
Yeah, pushing their advantages they are. That's a really good pick to make. Dragons in a minute. That's going to make sure they secure vision control with this Fiddlesticks team comp, which is going to be huge. On top of that, Dirty Phil gets the top lane for free, uh, in the top lane, and Sierras is able to catch the wave bottom. So very efficient macro play by GFG to make sure they got all the gold as well as increasing their gold by getting a pick.
Yeah, absolutely. GFG playing the macro really, really well in these games. But yeah, I'm not too sure what what Bog was doing in that previous play. Sometimes I've played with a few Maokai supports, and sometimes when you're playing that damage support, you just feel like you just feel like Thanos. When you're on that Maokai with the Imperial Mandate, you feel like you do so much damage. Sometimes you get a little too excited, which I guess is what
Ah,
happened there. As Sean is going to take the red buff, actually. Um,
optimal.
yeah, not too sure about that one.
Oh,
Your Jinx
TP's
can
coming
use
in.
can use it pretty effectively. TP is going to come in from Daniel. Not going to find
Ornn's
anything
behind
quite
them.
yet. Yeah, Dirty Phil does have a bit of an angle here. The Maokai all thrown down, but it's not going to be that effective of an engage. It's just going to be a zoning ultimate, I guess. As man, these saplings are doing so much damage. As we're talking about feeling like Thanos.
Yeah,
Um, Sword is going to be taken down. As again, this is GFG, similar as in last game. They have control over the Drakes. So if Casually Reformed doesn't want to give away Infernal Soul Points to GFG, they have to fight this one out.
yeah. Good, smart positioning by GFG. They could maybe be a little bit more aggressive, but they're making CR run into them when CR has no vision. Their top wave and their bot wave are pushing, so they know someone has to go catch them. And as soon as they see the Jinx in the bot wave, they move towards and they're going to get started on the Dragon.
Yeah, the dragon is going to be started here as more saplings are put into bushes. Oh, but that Mega Death Rocket was very close. But Swark manages to find the smite at the right timing. And man, that was so close. I believe it was like something 60 HP.
Yeah,
That was very, very close. But GFG do manage to get themselves a soul point.
yeah, Mega Death Rocket can outsmite junglers, especially at this level. Now that she's got rank 2 in her ultimate, it does so much damage. Just a little bit missed time not getting it, but that is going to mean the third dragon for the side of GFG. That puts them on soul point. And it looks like they're actually going to pressure the Baron and pressure Sean's life too.
Sean's a little caught here, but he's going to be just fine. As they don't decide to go for it, as they're not sure where the rest of the team is. As now they're basically setting up for a death trap. The Maokai zone control is absolutely absurd in these types of bushes, and thank God that
Oh,
it's not a something like a mountain or even worse. God forbid an ocean soul for the Maokai, because that is hell to play against. As
yes.
the number of augmented bushes makes it so that he can put those pesky little saplings literally everywhere.
Uh,
Um, yeah, it looks like we're gonna get a bit of a Baron dance in the next few minutes. But GFG is looking so good right now. They have so many items on their carries. Sirius notably does not have his second item yet. I believe he's going to recall and get that Lord Doms right now. But he does have that improved Mythic, and so does Zizzard, and that's really, really good.
Yeah, that's something that's absolutely huge about Orin, especially in games like these, where his team is kind of a little bit starting to fall off a little bit. Samira obviously passed her super hypey point of the early game, but Orin is going to be able to give so much gold in free upgrades that it's going to be a huge boon to have. Gives them that little bit of stats, 1,000 gold worth per player, and gives them to for free, but he might be giving more gold to the enemy now.
Yeah, absolutely. As Dirty Phil is going to find the flash, and he's.
Oh,
I believe he actually used the unstoppable from the W to not get blast planted back into CR.
he did, yeah.
That's a pretty smart play. Not sure if it was intentional or not.
That's the first time I've ever
Died.
seen an Ornn outplay someone. That's incredible.
uh, I have some Ornn main. They like their Ornn. It's a pretty fun champion to play. I agree.
Yeah.
Uh, Outplays can happen, of course, on Ornn. I beg to differ. I think he's
Okay,
not
okay.
he's not an Aurelia. He's not a Jax or anything like that. He's not super fancy. But as I keep talking, this Daniel is going way too deep. But that ultimate is going to pull back. And this fight is starting off split into two different fights. Sean is going to be taken down in the south quadrant. Daniel is going to be taken down in the north quadrant. And that's just going to be a 2-for-0. And the Baron is going... Inferno
Once
Trigger
it,
just being used for damage here. Oh my, it looks like they are trying to turn
oh,
on top of Harley. Harley might just be dead here. He just walked way too far forward without any wild growth available for the Lulu. And Roy is just going to be taken down, and that might just be game.
yeah, no cleanse and no Mikhail's on it makes this Jinx so easy to lock down. The twisted advance comes through as well as the ultimate gets knocked, stunned, rooted into stunned, into knocked up, and it's easy from there. Very well played by GFG, but CR having no chance was such a detriment. The CR's front line seems to be on a different page than a lot of the rest of the team, and it looks like it cost them the Baron there, and it's looking like it's going to cost them the game with the Dragon Soul coming up in a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talked about this last game too. Maybe a bit of a repeated mistake here coming in from CR. A bit of a disconnect in the team comms, maybe from the front line and back line. But then again, maybe that's just how their team compositions work. Harley and Murphy want to kite out and have these long fights, while Daniel and Sean just kind of want to go in, I guess. But yeah, I completely agree. Maybe this is something that they need to work on as a team, is how frontline and backline interact with each other. As they are trying to find some vision here, but honestly, what you check is dangerous. As they GFG isn't going for any type of big cheese, but honestly, they very well could. They have a
Yeah.
Fiddle, they have a Maokai. It's very dangerous to face check them. But it looks like they're just gonna play this clean, or will they? As Sirius is just waiting in this south tri-bush. He's going to find Royal, but Royal is going to find him first with a ward, as this dragon is spawning. And this dragon can be taken down very, very quickly if CR aren't careful about the health bars. It's already down at 4k, 3k, 2k. The Mega Death Rocket comes in, but it's actually Samira that is going to pick the kill, and that is the Soul coming in. The Ornhorn is going to come out, going to connect with Royal. The jump coming out from Sirius. Is he in range to auto? Sirius is going to take the second kill, gets the reset, but doesn't have anyone else to jump on. And there is only 2 caster beams there. So, but
Oh,
Alt and the Flash expanded there. He is going to be managed to take down, give his Tristana the reset, 2 resets. He manages to get another reset, and that is going to be the triple kill for Sirius. And that is most likely going to be the game, as well as the Sirius going over to GFG.
they just got stack checked in the end. Got too much of an advantage now as Daniel tries to do all he can, but it's no matter. GFG played it so well. They were aggressive at the right times. They force the engages when they need to, and they're able to come up and be victorious in the end. GFG takes the series 2-0.
Absolutely has to see a bit of a replay there. It's a pretty funny. They actually saw Fiddle ult, but it didn't even matter. The Flash comes out, is just dead. As we will be throwing this back to our wonderful analysts. Guys, what did you think about this game?